doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Subjects here. I was down at Mar-a-Lago. CDM covered the event there a week or so ago. Fantastic event, huge audience, impactful speakers. You saw Russell Brand, Ted Nugent, and other big stars, Mike Tyson there with the panel that we covered in Mar-a-Lago. And there was multiple events prior to the dinner that evening. Fantastic speakers. And I was just really impressed with the event. We have the people responsible for that. Mary Flynn, who is the executive director. I got your title right, Mary, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I am the executive director of America's Future.
And I've also got Aaron Stevenson, who is a whistleblower who works with you on the human trafficking issues. As I said, I was really impressed with that event. First, give us the elevator pitch on America's Future. I mean,
America's Future, I'm very honored to be the executive director of this organization. It's 80 years old coming. Okay, this year coming is going to be 80 years old. This is an organization that's rich history, legacy for this country. Fighting in 1946, real quick, there were over 1,000 organized communist groups, and these men and women were trying to warn the American people through their writings, through their journalists, through their books, through their, then radio eventually, and then technology came in. But to warn the American people that, they were coming for us. The American people were under, a real serious situation of communism in this country. And we need to continue to fight for our freedom, our faith, and our families. So this organization has, engaged in high-level cases with the Supreme Court. This is a lawfare that we fight for First, Second Amendment, all our real, independent rights. This is what we fight for, our constitutional rights, and also many other initiatives. So over the years, we have survived, and we will continue to survive under the leadership of myself and my brother, who's the chairman of the board, and Laura Logan and Mike Smith and, Ivan Recklin and so forth. And we've got a good team at America's Future doing really amazing things. And I love Aaron Smith and Tara Rodez. These guys are heroes, just like the Flynn family went through, the persecution we did. We will continue to fight for the American people and for the people that have been the heroes in this country. We have to keep this American exceptionalism, educate. We have to educate the people. We have to be participating citizens. That's what we're going to do. And we are doing it.
Well, you bring up a good point, your team around you, because I know most of them. And it's been interesting to me because when you meet and get to know people, you hear the same thing, like, I was told to do this. I'm here for a reason. Somebody told me to do this and put me here. And I've heard that from a lot of people you're talking about, Aaron Raiklin and others, Ivan Raiklin. And so, and a lot of people have been persecuted, but now this group is kind of coalescing and really pushing. Laura Logan's another big one.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron, tell us about you. I mean, what's your background so the audience knows who you are? I think you're on mute, Aaron. Oh, I don't.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be pretty brief. Marine Corps Intelligence. I joined right out of high school. Joined July 2001, right before 9/11, and that trajectory made everything right. Went to Iraq 3 times as a Marine. Went to DoD contracting because I was trying to become a Fed. Takes a lot of time. So in between, I just contracted for DoD. I worked for the National Ground Intelligence Center and DIA doing forensics and other stuff. Went to Afghanistan 3 times under that billet. And then became a DHS employee in 2012. And I worked at Customs Border Protection, the National Targeting Center, and then USCIS, which is U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
Right.
I joined in 2014, and I was fired February 10th, 2023, after blowing the whistle in 2021 and 2022.
And what did you blow the whistle on? I mean, people may not know.
Yeah, so 3 things, and we're going to probably keep it to 1. So in order, basically, the U.S. government knew what was going on right away with the open border and all the problems that would come from that, but specifically this emergent thing that I saw, which was known watch-listed transnational organized criminals were sponsoring these unaccompanied children. And that's key because now these aren't just transnational organized criminals, these are foreign terrorist organizations.
Right.
So that was a brand new thing. No one knew what was going on at that kind of level, that we had that capacity to understand what was going on. I tried pushing throughout the government. The government kept not listening, and that's why I went public with it. Was to tell the American people, tell them what's going on. But it was because everyone I was reaching out to, it was no curiosity, and there was no intent to go any further with that. So I had to reach further than my own intelligence, circles, law enforcement circles. I had to get beyond that, and I didn't know who it was. That was Tara Rodas, that was Debbie White, that was Maya Moreno. So they were in California. They saw this happening. They saw my video. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is child trafficking. Oh, now we know these are bad guys." And they were finding MS-13 cases right away. So that's what I blew the whistle on.
He's a pattern guy, Todd. He found patterns,
A nerd.
He's amazing.
Well, that's what intel guys do, right? We have a big military audience. That's why I've interviewed General Flynn many times. But you're right. It's pattern recognition, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, at the same time, so Tara at Pomona, she was finding similar things, and it was just interesting how they didn't know each other, and then they started. It's amazing how God does things like this with people. They really did start to connect and do. They were doing the same things, but on a different kind of a level and so forth, and that's just amazing how they became 2 people that really broke the whole beginning to the end part. And that is finding out that terrorists, bad cartel, bad, ugly people were taking children in. We're being allowed to take children in as a sponsor. Okay. That is insane. Okay. That's what the government did.
So you mentioned legal support. You were talking about some of the cases at Mar-a-Lago that you've won, and they were quite big cases. Can you just walk through a couple of those?
Well, so we have a case. So we have an incredible team, out of Washington. I got to say, Bill Olson, Law Freedom. And we have now filed, since we took over in 2020, one of the things that I started doing with, the donors, money was action. I want action. I'm a compliance finance, auditor. I've been in the nonprofit world for over 40 years in business, and actually mostly nonprofit. And that's what I do. I'm a money tracker. I find money. I look at corruption, and I look at money, and I can find a company who's in trouble, who's doing things nefarious. I can find these things. So, and that's what happened with me with the Catholic Charities. I ended up finding the money working in the Catholic Church, and I testified with another grand jury that Tara Rodas was involved with, and these guys were all, bringing in Florida grand jury, which identified Catholic Charities, the Lutheran Social Services, and the Jewish Foundation, all top NGOs taking money from the government, trafficking children, period. That's it. So when you talk about, cases, so we have the birthright citizen, that case right now, we filed in 3 states. We just heard from 2 states. We have filed cases, the Smith & Wesson, the violence, holding Mexico accountable for the gun violence in the cartels. That's going to be a big case. We've got the Planned Parenthood. We're going to stop to try to defund Planned Parenthood. We've got transgender cases. We've got cases that are, the sports, the girls' sports. These cases that we're involved with, and Todd, I don't know if we sent you that, but I will send you the updated list of all the cases that we are in like 40 cases at the Supreme Court right now. Wow. And they're First Amendment, Second Amendment, 14th Amendment, all, they're not specific cases. They're just very important cases. And I just found out that we are the only organization that's actually filing for the president's administration, helping President Trump and his administration get through this corruption. They are playing lawfare on him, and they are going to file, and we need to do this. And this is why we are continuing to file to back him up 110% in this administration. He needs this backing from organizations. And so, I take my donor money very seriously, and I do action. I'm not going to sit around and talk about what we're doing. We're doing it. We're in the grassroots. Aaron is a guy, and Tara, that we bring around the country, and we talk to the communities about what is going on, because it's in every community. These cartel, these, nefarious, people are in the country. I got to tell you this too. There's another problem going on here, and Aaron can speak on this, because we are listening to a lot of intel. When Trump was just about ready, everybody was getting excited just before the election. We had already had intel on the cartel moving children, okay? Because they were nervous about, the whole hype about we're going to find these children. Well, we need to find these children, right, Aaron? We still need to find these children. And I'm going to back off, because Aaron knows how to find these children. He's the one that knows how to find these children. He needs to be reinstated and put back in to help them. We don't need new software. We don't need any of that nonsense. We need Aaron back in finding these children. He already connected the dots. And that is very important for me to say. I got to say that on your show, Todd, because I'm really serious about this, because the American people want to know where the children are. We did a lot of work on that. We did a documentary on where the children are with the whistleblowers. We have been reporting on where the children are. So we know where the children are. And so, these cases, so basically we do all around. I got 2 teams working on how to care for the kids, where to find the kids, all these teams that I have, but we have to do this lawfare, because that lawfare will push these, laws through and get help to the president, because he needs the help. He needs.
Well, he mentioned the 350,000 kids, and then maybe a third of them are dead. Obviously, he was talking with you. You mentioned, I watched a little of the video you did recently, I think with Epoch Times, and the number that you mentioned at Mar-a-Lago, also, it's 2 years lifespan for these kids.
That's right.
Once they get in the pipeline.
That's
Can
right.
you just talk? I know that's a hard subject.
So no, it's not. I mean, I'm shock and awe now. I'm done. I come from an era where my mother was one of the founders of the pro-life movement. They were the ones that brought the baby parts out. They had to. It's shock and awe. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done with people saying, "Oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want." This is real. We buy and sell the most for children. We pay the most for children in this country. We have an obligation to stop this and then bring this across to every nation. We have got to do this. This is absolutely a $250 billion business, child trafficking alone. When a child is used and raped over and over 10 times a day, their lifespan, now mind you, most of the time these children have a doctor that they are brought to fix them, to get them back out working, okay? So the lifespan average is about 2 years when they are being raped 10 times, several times a day. And then their bodies are being fixed, get them back working, and then you're not going to live long. So that's an average 2-year span. So
you've also got the organ harvesting part of that.
Well, so that's another part. Now, there's this commodity, right, Aaron? He can speak on this.
Jump in whenever you want, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron, I'm being loud and a Flynn. I'm being a Flynn.
Exactly. And when the Flynn's cooking, I let him cook. So it's like do it. No, but when it comes to so those stats that we know that are hard, right? So the number of kids that came through the UC program, the expected trafficking rate, the number of kids that didn't get their NTA, the ones that didn't get their phone call received, we can extrapolate a lot of data and start narrowing down it's about 320,000 kids that came through a government program. Now, what we don't know though, which is going to be an unknown type of factor you have to basically consider for, is the amount of kids that got smuggled across the border in trafficking networks that did not go through that program. So the 500,000 kids that are missing, that's coming from one government program. That's not the entire population of trafficked children that came across the border. So that number is going to increase. But like Mary said, we're kind of at the part where it's we don't care if people can't handle that. It's you're going to adapt or you're going to suffer, and either one's fine. But no, those all those patterns, all those circles, all those things kind of overlap each other. That's what makes it very, very possible to do the necessary effort of recovering the kids, getting them out of those networks, trying to save their lives. If we can repatriate them to their families, do so, et cetera, et cetera. It's I mean, General Flynn says it all the time. There's solvable problems, manageable problems. This is a lift that's worth it. Like, this is absolutely worth it. I think you can see the cross on the wall. Like, we're here, obviously, as Christians. This is our country. Yeah. We should be doing these things. These should be efforts that we take very, very seriously, because this is the most vulnerable population in the world.
Well, where are the voices on this? I mean, where are the voices against Mayorkas? I mean, he planned and executed all of this. I mean, to me, that's what's shocking. You don't have nobody's on the bully pulpit banging the table. I mean, it's like people like you on podcasts. It's not on legacy media, obviously. But what do you think?
That's probably more out of ignorance, but also out of, I think, just skill, to be honest, with some of these things. Yeah, there's shady people. There's obviously very, very corrupted people that want to silence it. I understand that. Same time, also, I know a lot of people don't get it. I came out as a whistleblower in 2021. So over 4 years ago is when I first saw these cases. The government employees themselves, I was a GS-14, just, a Fed, right? I was making phone calls throughout the government being like, hey, I'm seeing this. Are you guys tracking this stuff? This is not our mission. So I'm trying to make sure someone's got this thing. They were like, no, we're not tracking this. But they also didn't care. They weren't like, no, that's not our job. But what? MS-13 is getting kids? It was never a thing that they really kind of latched onto. That's
Aaron, speak on, you explain the fact that you started to see gangs started working together. This is the first time gangs started being able to do this kind of stuff.
So that's what sparked my alarm bells. That was the emergent factor that made me go like, this is way bigger than I'm seeing right now. So I'm gonna nerd out really quick. So if I'm using too many acronyms, tell me.
All good.
So these things that I was seeing were just emails, right? But it was part of a government effort to combat transnational organized crime, which we now call foreign terrorism, and that's fine. So basically cartels. We were getting notices every day of cartels doing certain things. If they get deported, if they go on a flight, if whatever, right? Well, some of these things also involve things you do with your fingerprints. So if they get arrested, if they file for an immigration benefit, if they do something like sponsor for a child, some of these people have to put their fingerprints down for quote unquote background checks. And this list that is bouncing off of was very managed. It was capped at 40,000 people. And the border crossings at the time were like 250,000 per month. So this is a very, very small list we're looking at. And all of a sudden I'm seeing one every 3 to 4 weeks of another alien trying to get a kid. Yep, another alien trying to get a kid. But the part that stuck out to me was when I saw the third case. So the first one, and I'm talking about ever, by the way, was February 2021. And then I saw one in March, then I saw one in April. And the thing that I saw was, one, they're all illegal aliens. They all crossed the border recently. And they were all using the defensive asylum process to basically stay in the country and to kind of stay protected off numerous ways that, because it's a protected class. Yeah. But these were gang members from MS-13, 18th Street Gang, and a Romanian group. It was a Balkan organized crime group. And so one guy came from Romania, obviously. One woman was living in the northeast of America, and she was with MS-13. And one of the guys was, I think, down in Texas or Florida. He was 18th Street Gang. That's 3 different groups from 3 different parts of the world, because they also didn't come from the same country. And that made me go like, okay, so there's no major increase in violence right now going on in these channels getting into America. There's no major increase in violence inside the cities, and they're all using one pot. And it's like, if you know anything about gangs, they're very profit driven. They're not going to want to share their resources. So if this is a way to make a lot of money, and all of a sudden, they're all kind of doing it, and no one's getting stabbed over it, it's all right, this is bigger than I realized. And I still don't, by the way, have that answer, but this is much bigger than I realized. So by the time I found that third case, I was already making the phone calls by then, obviously, trying to get somebody on this thing. That's when I realized, this is way bigger than I realized. This is way beyond our scope, and this is beyond our capabilities. And again, nobody's trying to solve this issue, let alone be aware of it. So that was my understanding of the issue.
Stop it.
We put out a story this morning that the Americans are starting to be targeted in Mexico because a lot of the funding may have been cut off because these people have to pay their soldiers, right? Do you know anything about that, Aaron? And then I'll get back to Mary.
I think that's very logical, and it was kind of, I would say that'd be projected by the time that they knew President Trump was coming in. So the day he won the election, November, what was it, 6 in the morning?
Yeah.
The day that they knew that, they started making plans to adapt. Not saying that they're terrified and they're scared, but they're going to be now more reactive. And I guarantee you that's why you saw an increase in reporting. And this is open source as well, by the way, of munitions coming in, more complex, capabilities on the battle space. You start seeing more IEDs. You start seeing more drone activity, counter all sorts of things. So yeah, they got to make money. They got to do their thing.
That's right.
They're going to do extortion regardless. So yeah, Americans inside of Mexico, easy pickings. Why would they not?
That's right.
So Mary, I was impressed that you did you honored the whistleblowers in the military with Ivan. We filmed that. It's up on our Rumble channel on CDM. But great. I know Matt Lohmeyer. In fact, I was the one who put out the first interview that got him fired from the Space Force. But talk about how you got to that, to where you wanted to honor those people.
Well, that's one of the things that I am, because I'm seventh in 9 children, and I was always a kid that was always wanting to bring people together. Because in my world, I was born between 2 generals, and they were very intense growing up, and I was one that just kind of kept the peace. But I like people to come together, and that's what I try to do at these Mar-a-Lago events is I like to bring people from all walks of life, even that Jaguar Wright. These people all have stories. They all have, families, homes, kids, and so forth. This group of military, I got to give Ivan credit. I mean, of course, my family's so military. The military's, I grew up in the military myself. I mean, I wasn't in the military, but it was like being in the military.
You were there.
My parents were. I mean, you said, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am. You didn't say, hey, what do you want, mom? You didn't do that, So the military is very, very near and dear. These people are exceptional. What the military, and we were on a case that we won with OSHA. We also won the Air Force case with the religious exemption case. That was one of the first cases that we really had a victory in with the COVID. And so, they went through, I'm very aware of them. They went through hell, these people. And, so Ivan is, stays very in touch with the military. He's very good. That's what I mean about the board. I try to get these leaders that are doing their thing. They're not perfect people. We're all not perfect, but we're doing what we believe is true. And this is a big thing, the military. And these people are exceptional. Look at our military. Look what they did to our military in this last administration. Look what they did to our military. And Pete is doing the best job he can do to clean this mess up. Every system is corrupt. Every system is deeply rooted in corruption and dishonesty to the American people. So I'm just honored that they were so good. These men and women are amazing people. I mean, it's our honor. My brother and I feel that way. All of us feel that way.
Well, you can find that award ceremony of the 5 whistleblowers.
Yeah, it's great. It's just great.
And what else, Mary? Where are you focused? Where are you going next?
We have solutions. We like Aaron. We have a team. We have a Project Exodus. We have a team that we put together. I'm focused on this law work that we're doing. I'm focused on. We have 8. So we did 8 summits last year. Getting the fights. We're going grassroots. Still going. Through my brother's local action, national impact. We are bringing. This Project Defend and Protect Our Children team across the country. We did 8 states, like I said. I'm going into the churches. I'm stressing God back in this nation. Without God in this nation, we're cursed. And look where we are. So, I'm moving we have Wisconsin, April 25th and 26th for a great summit in Wisconsin who desperately needs us. Wisconsin is a dark state, needs us very much. We need to shine the light on that. There's the place Eau Claire, where we're going, is a hub for trafficking. And we are going to California. We are going to New Jersey. We are going to Pennsylvania. We are going to Rhode Island. I'm going to hopefully get into Georgia. So we're going to bring Project Defend and Protect Our Children, add in a little splash of citizenry with Ivan, the constitutional lawyer that he is. I've got legal work that we are teaching people how to legislate. We've got grooming bills. I'm going hard on getting rid of the Clinton Act. Now, the Adoption and Safe Family Act, that is destroying our country. That's Robert Kennedy. I'll be knocking on his door as soon as I can to get these policies cleared. I would like to see the Johnson Act get out, taken down. There's so much work to be done that just exciting, you know. And I want to get Aaron back reinstated. I think that he's a huge asset to this country. I'm doing everything I can to get him back in, because literally, if you had time for him to explain, he can find these children. He knows where these children are.
We can have you back, Aaron. But
Aaron needs to explain.
Give us the overview of where you are and trying to get back in DOD.
I mean, I was fired, so I've tested it. I've done, like, I'll go back to USA Jobs. I'll make some applications, and then I always do the, like, you've passed the first, and then it's always like cut off. Before I've done things like that, and it's always, you always make it to the interview rounds at least. So no, I'm definitely like not hireable through the traditional means. So I'm just trying to get reinstated as a means of however that's going to work. I'm not even seeking like a political appointment. I want to go back to being a Fed, because that's where I'm good at. Like I'm good in the trenches. I'm good, you know, a street level kind of guy. I'll take whatever I get. I'm not going to say no to anything, obviously, but no, I want to get back in, because these things, there's a lot of information that the government collects. I think we can all agree on that, right? Like the government's not known for not collecting data. That it exists. The problem is that your policies, your personnel at the end of the day. And I think that was demonstrated over the past 4 years, that most people are just going to kind of do what they're told to do. But you also have this very ideological component that wants to keep the establishment way of things kind of going on. This is happening across the government right now. I've got friends still inside the immigration world that are hitting me up saying things like, yeah, we're ignoring policy because that's what leadership wants right now. So like, this is what I mean by like, yeah, it's, you got to call, you got to take a lot of guys out, but you got to put guys into, like, you need.
Well, yeah, I have several sons in the military, and I told them, you got to stay in, because we're going to need really good people when this flips to move up in the officer corps and make change and be trusted. So it's really important. What else, Mary? Anything else?
Well, you know, the thing about Aaron is that he knows how to connect all the department and the data together to find the children. They don't need any new things, no new tech. They've got it. They just need a guy like him who did this. And you know, anything else? I mean, really, I just want people to understand that people need to be patient with what President Trump is dealing with. But organizations like this organization, you know, we're about action, and and you see General Flynn out there, you know, doing his thing, and he bleeds patriotism, and you know, he loves this country, and you know, our family and these teams that we have in this America's Future organization, that we're about action. We're not gonna let the American people down. They have a power that they just won an election with, the power of the vote. They need to feel empowered by what they just did. They gave them a Congress. Now we only have, 17 months left now to another election. We cannot lose to these creeps. These people showed their true colors at that speech the other night. These people are not Americans. They have broken their oaths. They are just not Americans. So we need to understand that as Americans. We're nice people, but it's not time to be nice anymore. It's just not. We don't have a future without children, and that's my biggest drive, you know.
Well,
and Aaron too. Aaron is that's why he wants in. He wants to finish the job that he started.
So you mentioned going to other states and Georgia specifically. I mean, we have a huge team on the ground. We have the biggest political show in Georgia. So we should talk about that offline to see.
Please, I would love that, Todd, because I've got 2 people up in Georgia that are really dying for us to get there, and I just talked about it yesterday. And like Rhode Island, that's our, you know, that's my brother's, you know, that's where we grew up, and I got to go rally. We're going to go rally a day in Rhode Island to help them, and we're going to bring a splash of good people to help. They need help. Like California needs help. They just need some motivation. They need to know that people are on their side. And influencers that I have, and I do, build that. That's what I want. I want these people to feel like we're all united. And by the way, the only other thing I'm going to say is I'm heading in December. We're having another Mar-a-Lago, but I'm heading global because America should have been out of wars and spreading freedom, faith,
Yes.
and family. So now we need to know that globally, we are going to unite globally. America's future is going global. We gave Russell Brand the Global Freedom Award. We are going global. We have to solve the problems, but we have to spread our freedom and faith. And that's what we've got to do. The world is looking for us to do this. We are the beacon, and we have to do our job, just like citizens.
We've lost most of the moral authority that we had spent decades getting back with, trends.
We can get it back, though, Ty.
Yeah.
We can get it back.
I
talk
agree
to people in Ireland. I talk to people in England. I've got Korean friends. They're deep state. They're all, they're actually, Europe's a mess. I mean, it's so far gone, but we can still, but there's still people there that we need to, embrace. There's still, I mean, it took 3% in the founding fathers to win this country. So, I mean, it's just,
you're right. You're exactly right.
Small
So,
percentage.
Mary, how do people follow you in the organization, Mary?
So americasfuture.net is where I am. I am on Twitter and I am in Truth. I don't usually go on the rest of them. I just stick to that. But anyway.
What about you, Aaron?
I'm just on Twitter a little bit. My handle's right there at DHS Aaron. Otherwise, I'm usually in the background.
So I'm going to contact you and have you back on, and we'll talk more.
Yeah,
love to. Whatever you want.
So look forward to it. Guys, thank you very much. Hope to see you around soon. We'll go to a break.
Thank you all. God bless.